So hello, everybody. It is a new session or new meeting of Holochain-in-Action, the community virtual meeting. Generally, it is a weekly meeting that the community member of a Holochain gathering talking about the architect, design, and mostly technical topic in the Holochain system and Holochain ecosystem generally. So if you believe you are an app designer, developer, do you have any idea, please go to the description, fill out the application form. And also in the forum.holochain.org, you can find a specific section for Holochain-in-Action. If you would like to give us feedback, that we are really love it. And especially if you are from other communities and other technologies, and you believe you would like to cooperate and correlate between a different community and to see maybe there are some possibilities between the big project. So warm welcome. So that's being said, today Harlan is going to bring something on the table. So let's see what is waiting for us.
All right. All right. Thanks for saying yes to this exploration, which is a little different from a lot of the explorations we've done that are more, exploring full-fledged apps that folks have built. This is much more, I'm just in the process of exploring some things about the HTK, things like updates of entries and update trees and walking those update trees while rejecting branches of the update trees that are invalid for my particular app. Also things like countersigning, just starting to read up on and read code for smart people who have already done countersigning. And so I extracted a fresh repo recently, and I'll just share a screen and talk through this a little. You guys let me know how this screen share is, if I'm pushing too many pixels.
I think it's good.
Great. So HTK explorations, I put in the Zoom chat, and maybe we can put in the show notes if we have such a thing. And so that is the repo we have loaded here. It's super bare bones. Let's just walk through what's there, which is really almost nothing. And then we can do some live coding together. That's the big idea. So we've got some Sweetests on the left, this behavior.rs, and we've got the kind of one Zome lib file on the right. And so what's in the Zome? The Zome is called Nifty, which is a pun on NFT. And so the Nifty struct is maybe the simplest possible NFT that could never work, that could not possibly work, which has an ID and an owner. And so you can pass it around. The idea is you could pass it around between different owners, not implemented yet. Left as an exercise for the reader. And the ID is what would make it unique. In theory, no uniqueness is enforced yet. And there's also Nifty input, so you can just put in the ID, and when we're doing the create, the owner will get dynamically made by the creator. And we're actually creating two entries. We're creating an entry for the Nifty input, and which is probably would be better called Nifty ID. Since we're creating an entry for it, it would be a little clearer if we thought of this as a Nifty ID, because then we could do things like look up by the Nifty ID, which in this case is an entry, could also be an anchor, and then we could link to the Nifty to find it. Okay, and then once we've created some created those entries for the ID and the actual NFT. Then we've got this get details for entry, which is really just trying to exercise and understand the get details method, right? And in particular, when you've created multiple entries that are the same entry hash, what exactly does it return? You know, I'd like to see the debugging output. I'd like to just understand what's going on. And so speaking of debugging output, we've also got this debug method, just stolen straight from Guillaume's blog post, which runs all the debugging methods. Okay, so let's run tests.
Alan, sorry to interrupt. Is it possible to a little bit make font bigger in 2 windows?
Of course. All requests welcome. I'll just collapse the side. Maybe that'll do the trick.
1 time bigger would be even fantastic.
Okay. All right.
Wow, that's great.
Okay. Yep. We might collapse some windows, but let's see how it goes. All requests welcome. Okay. So we're running tests in watch mode. Using cargo watch. So anytime we save, we'll just rerun the tests from scratch, which is really nice. And one of the things we can see there is just that our debugging output, well, the first thing we can see is that Sweetest takes a long time to run, right? It's very fast to fail to compile, you know, which is what happens, you know, 90% of the time when I hit save is it fails to compile and gives very fast feedback on something that needs changing, which is great. But actually running Sweetest once it compiles takes a while.
Harlan, would you please give us a little bit context about Sweetest? What is that?
Yeah, sure. So Sweetest is like Triorama, but written in Rust. Triorama is the standard integration testing tool in JavaScript or TypeScript. Sweetest is also integration tests written in Rust. Let's just get a little more space on our Sweetest and talk about that a little. Here, let's just give up on the multi-window idea. So Sweetest gives you these, basically it gives you fake everything you want for Holochain. So it has the idea of sweet conductors. Yeah, we can see our types here from Rust Analyzer, a VS Code plugin. So it gives us these sweet conductors and sweet cells and sweet conductor batches, etc., which are fake versions of all of these things. Really cool that it's all written in Rust, because you don't have to, you know, write your code in Rust and your tests in TypeScript and think about kind of type conversion going through. On the other hand, some people like the fact that when you're writing in JavaScript, you're sort of exercising a little of that boundary between the Rust and the TypeScript. I'm only writing tests in Sweetest right now, but you know, I haven't done enough to hit some of the pain points that some other folks have been hitting. So we'll see how it goes.
Thank you. If also you can show in your solution explorer, we can see where is the tests are located. That is fantastic.
Of course. Let's see, where are our tests? Here. So we've got our Zome Nifty, which contains the source and the tests. And it could be called anything, but in this case, I called it behavior. In fact, let's just leave that open now that we don't have other windows. So we have context all the time. And of course, in the tests, we've got assertions, importantly, where we can assert things are equal to each other. That's currently not working, but we'll get there soon. Okay, so let's see how our tests are going. Okay, yeah. yeah, they're starting from scratch every time something changes. I guess that's the bad side of test watch. Always a good chance to have a little stretch every time your tests are running. This is one of the nice things about Mac is that firewall always tries to save you, and one of the nice things about Rust is that every time it makes a new executable, it has a new hash at the end, so you can't explicitly allow this as a firewall exception. So it's either turn off the firewall or click allow every time you run your tests. It's just good times over here. You can make fun of Mac now again if you want. Okay, so I think I will. It helps me a lot to have the multiple contexts, so let's try it. So we can see that all of our debugging business is working. Where was that? That was in lib. All of our debugging business is working. That's great. Not really sure what trace does, by the way. Anybody want to explain that?
Well, trace is exactly the same as all the other ones. It's just a lower level.
Okay, I don't actually get output from trace, so that's unexpected, probably, right?
Right. Oh, that's interesting. Let's go to.
It's probably because you have to set the Rust logging environment to be trace.
Right. Like
when you run it.
My brain went like, okay, go to the package.json and wait, this is not Triorama. Okay, so yeah, Eric's right. You should probably do that in the cargo watch script. But no.
Sure.
But you probably don't want it because your debug log will be full of every single trace in a holochain then, which will be completely obnoxious.
Oh, wait. Actually, there are two log variables. There is Rust log, which does the holochain thing, but DNA logs are controlled by wasm log, which is another variable. So you can actually be concrete about what you want.
Okay, great. I will change it for the purposes of demonstration if you'd like, if it won't cause everything to recompile. But if we think it might, then let's not, because that'll take a while.
It's okay.
Okay, so we can see that that's working. Our tests are not failing, but that's because we're doing almost nothing so far. So let's look at what we are doing. So we are, let's make this a little bigger. So we're setting up some conductors, agents, and apps through this setup conductors method, which is down here. We'll pass quickly on that, but that allows us to set up in conductors. I think I got the original version of this, maybe this exact version from Snapmail. And once we get those, we're just deconstructing. So we've got conductors and cells for Alice and Bob. Oh yeah. We do this magic incantation, which should sync the DHTs between the two conductors, Alice and Bob.
I noticed that function is also in the conductor setup conductors, so I don't think you have to do it.
Awesome.
The last thing there.
Thank you. Beautiful. All right. I felt very smart when I put that line in here, but it looks like Damien was already smart for me.
You were very smart.
Okay. And then we make some nifty input, just an ID, and we call create with it twice for Alice and once for Bob. The whole idea here is, hey, I want to make 3 entries that are exactly the same from 2 different agents. Remember that one of the entries that we make is just the ID. So those would be the entries that are exactly the same. And then we'd like to get details for that entry. So let's see. how that goes. Compiler's not going to like that we're not using details, but let's just ignore it for now.
Harlan, Harlan, why is there the conductor Alice twice?
Sure. It's just that we're calling the create, the nifty create twice, the nifty zone create method twice for Alice, and then once for Bob.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is that we're trying to create a few identical entries and exercise our get details method, which should get us all three of those entries.
Right.
And Harlan, if in the test there are two conductors, what is the network option for that? Is there any need to do any setup for the test, or?
That's a great question. I'm gonna throw that open to the crowd.
Sorry, didn't get it. Didn't get the question. But
you want to repeat it?
The question I asked.
Yeah.
For the test, if there are two conductors, so what about the networking? So how the networking between the two conductors is happening inside the test Sweetest, I mean.
Well, the line that Harlan just deleted is the one that makes one conductor aware of the other conductor. And from there, like, I don't know if you're asking about the processes or about the...
I'm asking about any concern, any setting. Should we override something? Is there anything we need to consider when we are testing our use cases in two conductors? Should we consider something? Concern, that's it.
Right. So for them to connect, like Harlan did it perfectly, which is either you call setup conductors, which already does it for you, or you do the exchange peer info that Harlan had, right? You had one of two ways.
Okay, great. So coming back, we just uncommented this get details for entry call for Alice, and we're getting the failure on the right. So let's also see what's in that get details for entry, and we'll try to debug together. So we're missing a field entry. Anyone have any ideas? What's going on here?
Field entry.
Go ahead.
That is a really interesting error message. Like the first thing that comes to mind, looking at where are the location at which this has exploded, is let's check
Details, this serializable details. Can you go to the details? It is, maybe it is not serialized. The details type.
Sure, yes.
No, it must be. Yeah, it must be. Because otherwise you okay, go, but it must be.
No, it is not set.
Yeah. Okay, go back to the test. That is actually really interesting. Oh, wait, this is entry details, not details.
It's good to have a mob, as we say in mob programming.
I was like, wait, this looks like really weird. Like, I don't see how this could ever be wrong. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, we run. Yeah, I was switching back and forth between details and entry details, and so that's just a leftover of that. Okay, great. So now we're successfully running all our tests with feedback from Mac, and so at this stage, I was like, I want to see details. I want to see everything. I don't care whether it's in my test or inside my zone with the debug calls. And let's see, details headers. Or maybe this will work. So this is the no headers. Let's just try the whole thing. This is the Rust incantation for show me the debug pretty printed version of the thing, or so I believe.
That's right, yeah. We have to come up with a song every time it compiles like that.
I was thinking of jokes. I was thinking we need a lot of really short jokes.
Okay.
Is there not a holo jingle?
So that's interesting. I don't see any print line whatsoever in my test.
I think in the test run, when you are running a cargo test, to see the debug, you need to add a switch. And I don't remember right now. I think without that one, you cannot see the console or anything.
Okay. Okay. If anybody wants to look for that, I can add it. In the meantime, I'll try to print it out from the WASM side.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've got these nice debug methods. Let's print our details here. I think this will be useful. So let's just click on that. Debug.
Oh, that is great. Also, it is a nice approach. Yes.
Okay, value is not. Oh, right. I need to stringify it or something. Same incantation, which I've already forgotten. Okay.
No, it's the yeah.
Harlan, also check the comment that I sent in the chat.
Thank you. Test cargo, no capture. I got it. So we're capturing all of standard out, and we can add that to our test script. So let's just, while the thing is running, I just got a custom bash script that's running my tests and other targets. And in the test part, I'm using test watch, cargo test. Capture. Let's try that.
But in the previous round, we saw it.
Ooh. Yes.
Okay, great. This makes me so super happy.
We have it twice now.
Okay. So which do we like?
They are the same, so
let's do the test one. It seems more better. Okay, and so in this details, what we expect to see is 3 headers that have created the same entry from 2 different agents. Sorry for all the wait time. Maybe we should just manually run it instead of watching it. It's cool when I'm solo, but when every save makes 6 people wait, that seems like a lot.
it's okay.
While we're waiting, a question. So in here, you've got the nifty input inside the Sweetest file. How is that made available to the Sweetest file, which is behaviors? Like it should be that use nifty, but do you have to do something on the other side to get it exported?
Let's see. Pub struct. Just
oh, you have to make it a pub, is what makes that. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm working on a parallel thing, and my Sweetest file, it says it can't find that item. Is there anything else you need to do to get it exported so it'll be used? Weird.
The directory needs to be called Nifty. That's what makes it, you know, an implicit module of type Nifty.
Yeah, I think I have that set up the same way in the one that I'm doing. Okay, I'll just keep going till I can find out why it's like it's my import on my, I like copied your exact same thing with tests and behaviors and how, and there's nothing there.
Eric, what is your package name in Cargo Taman?
Oh, maybe that's the thing.
Good call. Yeah, it's Nifty here.
No, the package name is also the name of the directory. Create type lib cd. It's like exactly the same thing as what I see there. Huh. All right, I'll keep figuring it out. No, you keep going. I just thought maybe there was something I was obviously missing, but I don't know what it is.
Puzzle two. Okay, so we said there should be three headers with the same entry, and let's just at least count them. Oh, headers. Oh, headers. Signed header hash 1, 2, and 2. So it looks like maybe we got Alice's, but not Bob's, which is interesting. Because remember, Alice made 2 and then Bob made 1. We could test that or confirm that by commenting out Alice's entirely. And just
and was this working previously before you removed the exchange peers line?
No.
Okay.
This is pretty fresh. Let's try that. I'm also gonna just switch to testing without watch so we can manually
for entry.
use when it runs.
Yeah, that all looks fine, I think.
Interesting. So no entry found when Alice tries to get details for the entry that Bob created.
Yeah, so it seems Hedayat's question was on point, which is they are not seeing each other. Or, oh no, this should be the consistency thing. Sorry, this should be the consistency between the DHTs.
Wait, huh?
Yeah. Do you have that line? I'll grab it for you if not.
This line or a different line? Oh, the consistency 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's stuff.
But I do not have that line, but obviously have seen it somewhere.
So for the quick context that visitors or viewer cannot be confused, so it is generally the integration test. The conductor are going to be run in the fake environment. So when one of them doing something, it's supposed to be inside the DHT and all the process is supposed to be working. So that's why we need to put some waiting time for the consistency. Actually, it is the main reason that right now we are talking about. So mostly the JS, the Trirama and Sweetest, both are integration tests. Anytime you are facing kind of issue like this one, so most probably you need to consider also some waiting. So finding a way that one conductor doing something, so it needs time. That's it. It is the whole topic.
Yeah, I just saw the code that Gim posted in. Okay, great. There's also a bit of context. Consistency 10 seconds, Alice, Bob, wait. And so here we're doing that Is this a Sweetest?
Yeah, it's a Sweetest export.
Okay. And so where should I do that?
You should do it after the create, before the get.
Ah, of course, yes. So we'll create the things. We'll leave it with just creating one Bob one for the moment. Oops, gotta import that or something probably.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Hey, I lied to you.
Not bubble. Let's see. So we'll get that guy.
In your case, I think those are the cells. I think those are the cells. Cell Alice.
Okay.
You need to rename Alice and Bob to cell underline Alice and cell underline Bob.
Okay. Indeed, it's the thing that comes from apps into tuples. I'll just take your word for it.
So meanwhile, it is running. Guillaume, can you explain us why any time?
Did you have to get that explicitly out of Sweetest, or did the star bring it in?
I got it explicitly not out of Sweetest, but out of this test utils.
Oh. What's the thing? Did that thing like automatically refactor itself? Did you like go find it using VS Code? Or did you just know where it was? Okay, you typed it in.
Looked at the imports here.
Yeah.
Always good to have a question while we're compiling.
Yes, my question, Guillaume, why it takes time when we are running the test? Sweetest. What's happening behind this thing?
Guillaume, did you make it slow?
Or Eric, if you would like to cover the question.
I don't know. What's the question?
Why is Sweetest slow? I think. Sorry.
Go on then. Ask.
Yeah, why is Sweetest slow was the question I heard.
Because you have to compile everything every time. Is that what you're talking about? Like, yes. I mean, it should be actually faster. Because the thing is, you have to compile the Sweetest code, which means that, and in JavaScript, if you're using it in Triorama, you never have to compile that code. It's just interpreted by JavaScript. So it actually is a faster turnaround. But you don't get the type checking inside your tests.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for calling that out. I didn't call that out when I was describing Sweetest, but being able to directly use the detail struct in this case that we're receiving in Rust and all the type checking is a big deal. Okay, so that worked. Now we're successfully getting Bob's signed header hash. Get details is working. Presumably, if we do the same with two of Alice's, we'll get those as well. So while that's thinking, let's move on to the next bit. So there were a few things.
A follow-up question. So it takes so long to recompile because it puts even the Sweetest code into the zone. Is that it?
No, it takes.
Why is this?
Yeah, it takes long to recompile because if you go up, Harlan, so the Sweetest is actually part of the Holochain crate. So, and behavior.rs is including the Holochain crate, and the Holochain crate is a big one. So when this is my interpretation, but I think it's the right one. When you see retest and it takes a long time to just compile one crate, that's because it's compiling the full Holochain crate. That's Holochain core. That's big.
Right.
But it shouldn't have to keep redoing that, right? Because that should
Yeah,
be
why would it recompile the
And
whole holochain crate?
It doesn't have to it shouldn't recompile the whole chain crate every time. It's a long time the first time, and then it's still long,
No,
but not as long the second time.
Like the way it is right now, it has to recompile it because Holochain includes Sweetest as part of the crate of
Yes, but
Holochain
we are
core
not
crate.
modifying Holochain itself, are we?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, but we are not here. The test get details for entry is not part of Holochain itself.
But Sweetest is within the Holochain crate.
Yeah, you're right. I see your point. Yeah.
It's just the compiled artifact should live there, and they should live inside. I don't remember what they're called, inside the target. And so it shouldn't have to redo it every time. But and so I don't think it is. It still takes a long time.
Yeah, in there somewhere.
My question: what if does it make sense, or does it make any difference if we put this in a different place, maybe in the different module or something like that? It is not related now.
I don't think so, because this is the only thing in this location. So I don't think this would be pulling in anything due to its location.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, go
So,
ahead.
go ahead. So we're successfully pulling in all three entries. Great. Just means our basics are working. I'm gonna pop in the chat some of the original ideas I had for things we could explore now that we've done some basics, and for the viewers, those are unpacking and get details response. We've done that one. Check. That's like my ASCII check mark. Walking the trees of entry updates by multiple parties and filtering those update trees, branches, that's supposed to say, only valid ones. And so what I'm thinking there is, in the NFT use case, suppose only the current owner can update to a new owner, but suppose the DHT is full of people trying to spam and hack, and they're creating all kinds of invalid transfers. So you want to see all of the updates, but really only the updates made by the current owner and then made by the next owner, etc. And so that's what I mean by walking the trees and filtering them. And then the ambitious, let's see, printing a debug representation. I think we can leave that as an exercise for the reader. We'll say will not solve, because basically it's the same thing. The debug representations we know how to do now in both the WASM side and the Rust side. And then the stretch goal that I didn't put in the chat was countersigning flow. So as long as you guys are okay with a 4-hour meeting, we'll cover all of it. Just all right, but let's see if we can at least make a little progress on countersigning flow. If people want to keep going and this seems useful, we're already at 1 hour clock time. How's everybody doing?
Which one would you like to select?
This one or these two, starting with walking trees, but then see if we can filter to only valid entries.
I'm totally up to go for those two and postpone the countersigning flow for another standalone dedicated session, because it is the big topic. We really would like to go to detail to the countersigning, about the philosophy, the things that's it. Please go ahead. Yeah,
and in fact, the only person I know of who's written countersigning code is on this call, and that's Gam, who's written some in ELO, and so it would be really cool to get a walkthrough of that, because when I walked through the blog post of countersigning, it looked really, really complicated. And then when I looked at the HTK docs, yeah, let's just say, haven't quite got my head around it yet. All right. Okay, so if we're going to walk and update tree, what we're talking about here is, let's test drive it. Let's test drive the transfer of the NFT from one owner to another. And we'll just start by copying one of our tests. We'll call this second one transfer. Conductors, the nifty input. We'll still have Alice and Bob, but just Alice will create. We don't care about Bob seeing it yet, but we might later. So I'll just leave that hanging around. We're not trying to get the details. What we're trying to do is get Alice to do a transfer, which doesn't exist yet, but we'll pretend it does for test driving. And the transfer will have some kind of transfer input that will take Bob's address as a parameter. So we're going to have nifty input, and then kind of similarly, we're going to have, say, transfer input, which again doesn't exist. In fact, let's just get the lib over here for now, where all this stuff doesn't exist. We'll call this transfer input, and that will have target recipient. Will be Bob. Now, does anybody know offhand how I get Bob's agent pub key?
It looked like there was agent infos there when you were just doing the file completion on agent info or agent latest pub key. That's what you want. No, you use, yeah, that one. Thank you.
Great.
But that just looked like it's straight out of the Sweetest.
Thank you. Ignore your file completion. It's the note to self. So our payload here will be our transfer input. I don't need to learn this guy anymore since we're not reusing it. And just some of this stuff. And let's go ahead, and this is probably a good. Go ahead.
Transfer input should also take the nifty input in some form, like or the ID, or like I want to transfer this thing to this agent, right?
Yes. Excellent point. So our transfer input struct will have a ID, which will be nifty ID. Oh, this is ID colon nifty ID in this case. Okay, and so we're in strict TDD. We talk about failing for the right reasons before we write any code, and so we're failing for the right reasons that the transfer input doesn't exist. And let's just close a lot of this stuff. A little simpler. And we'll leave that one. Close a few things. Okay, so reminding ourselves what the heck we're doing. We're making a transfer input. Let's just copy some of this code and transform it into an actual struct on the lib side. Works on my machine, but not Eric's. You can do pub struct transfer input and nifty ID.
It wasn't working for me because I actually have my entry in its own file. And so I had to specify the file directly.
Can you show us, Eric? Maybe others also are gonna face the same issue.
I don't think it's relevant right now.
Why? So when I hit save, I expect everything to format if it's reasonable.
No, it's public, not pub.
Oh,
Line 24 and 25.
Here it's pub.
Like at the end, sorry, reverse. You have public, exactly.
Thanks, of course. Okay.
And then you need, yeah, you need the derive thing, the derive line. So derive, serialize, deserialize, debug.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'll go work on this one. Can someone paste me that line?
Sure.
Good to have a mob.
Forget scene, this is good collaboration.
Exactly. And just a side note that, you know, we're literally halfway around the world from each other. And like, I haven't noticed a single glitch or dropout of anyone's video, audio. I don't know how the screen share is, but that's pretty amazing. Okay, so our actual reported problem is that agent pub key is an unknown field.
I would think you could get that from the cell, not the conductor.
Okay.
So if you do cell bob, agent pub key, yes.
That sounds smarter, right?
Nice. And meanwhile, I got the other line I need pasted to me, but let's stick with what we've got here. Expected struct holohash.
Yeah, you need to clone it.
Thank you.
So I just pasted in the chat the thing I'm getting, which is ahead of time, where I'm getting a Mr. Bundle gzip header error. Anybody seen this one? It looks like it's like the thing that zips up the file for Sweetest isn't working. This can be on the side as a side thing. Keep going, Harlan. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm just trying to understand why, if that would show up.
Yeah, your path is all good. Like it's finding the DNA bundle and such.
I'll go look for that. See what video is.
My only idea. Okay.
Yeah, just a note in that, in the past, what has happened to me is a null compiled DNA is the one that I was referencing without actually noticing. And then the newly compiled one, I was not referencing from tests. I don't know.
Okay, my Ian has pasted in the needed incantation to derive the things we will need. And now back in our behavior, we're moving.
You actually write Rust code like I do, which is get everything to compile without the clones and then put all the clones.
Yeah, and then I run Clippy on it at the end, which tells me to remove some of the clones that
Nice.
have left extraneously.
Yeah, so in line 62, I think you're missing a clone.
Line 61? Or oh, that one. Yeah, that one.
Go for clone. Yeah, that's...
Everything's better when you clone it. Cannot infer the type.
Ah.
It's
Right.
not able to clone us. Oh, right, the string. String. Seems like it's cooler to do a string from.
Mhm.
I don't know why, but same thing as .toString.
I think maybe the thing that I'm missing here, and maybe you could describe this, is how do you, like, when you do cargo test, how do you make sure it also built the DNA?
Yeah, thanks for asking. That's I'm really happy to look at my build script because I spent way too much time on it. Let's see. So we're running test watch. So that's where things start. Shell it just echoes the command and then runs the command. So we're running test watch, and that's running cargo watch and running the script again with test. So now we're running test. In test-env, just sets any environment variables you want and then runs the targets. And the targets are build DNA and test metal. So every time that watch runs, we rebuild the DNA and we run test metal, which is the low-level test.
And so run build zome is, I'm just looking at how to do this manually here for me. So that's basically run build DNA. And what's build DNA? Build DNA is just cargo build release. Yeah, okay, I see. That's why I'm getting the wrong thing, because I just didn't even build the DNA.
Solved. Maybe we could just solve all 6 of our problems at the same time on the one call. I would like that.
This is lovely for me because I'm just to give the background here. I'm following along, adding in Sweetest stuff because I never used Sweetest before in any app. I've always been in Triorama, and so this is actually just a lovely thing to be able to do while you're building this stuff out. I love it. Thank you.
That's amazing.
Harlan, would you please comment build zome and build DNA, and let's run a test to see what is the difference in the speed run. Can you? Because right now you are not touching DNA, yeah?
Yeah, the lid
yes,
into the DNA.
Yes, temporary comment this build DNA and build zone that you have your.
I see.
Yes, here.
Sure. Like that?
Yes, that's it. Yeah, let's see how the test is running.
No.
Yeah, it's not going to go well. Maybe we want to comment out where build DNA
That's
is
one
called.
Yes, yes.
And it's also called in test. Leave it there. Okay, so it's the same now, but now if we change our DNA, we should not see those changes. Let's see. So I guess now if I wipe out my entire DNA, this should be just the same because it's not going to recompile the DNA. Oh, right. My test is trying to import those structs, so that part would be needed, but we should be able to delete everything but the structs, the methods, and save without change. That's the same failure we were getting before because we're not recompiling the DNA. Is that the kind of thing you were wanting to show at HiA? Anything you want to share, Eric? I thought I heard you laughing.
Sorry, I was laughing because I have the Sqlite 3 failure when I try to build my DNA, which is really obnoxious because I think I've installed Sqlite 3, I don't know how many times on this Linux box. I mean, this is, yeah, sorry. So it's a side effect.
Wait, yeah, it actually is okay. I banged my head with that for like half an hour. Harlan, I don't know if you did. There is a trick.
Works on my machine.
It works for me. Okay, so there is a trick actually, which is if you go to the top level cargo toml,
Yeah.
you need to add. Okay, so let me send you a link. Okay, the thing is that what Cargo is trying to do, it's trying to get your dev dependencies compiled together with your zone. And Sqlite is not compilable to WASM. And Sqlite is a dependency of Holochain. So then it fails. So what you need to do is there is a very specific line which makes it so that the dev dependencies are not actually bundled.
Well, this is really important because this is going to bite everybody's butt.
Okay.
If you want to use Sweetest. So
yeah.
This is great to add in. I'm glad
exactly.
I'm glad I hit it.
Yeah, let me show it.
Yes, Harlan, would you please stop sharing that Guillaume can share?
Of course. One comment though, I wonder if you're running outside of Nick's shell, just because I haven't had this problem, but maybe it's a Mac versus Windows versus Linux thing.
I'm not. I'm in Nick's shell. Yeah.
Okay, so this line, I always run it in Nick shell, and I had this problem. So it's interesting.
Is your Nick shell?
You mean resolver equals 2? Now talk about an incantation. Is that the line you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the line. That's the fix.
What the freak? What does that even mean?
Okay, so that configures Rust like at the point at which I found this, I was like, okay, this works. I won't investigate further. But what I got from it is that it's a way to tell Rust, hey, use the features and bundling algorithm version 2, not the first legacy one.
Yeah,
so,
I'll say.
Okay, go.
I'll just add to it a little. So I found out about this when the Rust 2021 edition dropped just a few weeks ago, and if you have edition 2021 in your cargo toml, you will be using bundler, the bundling algorithm version 2 by default. You don't have to specify that, but yeah, it's and if you're using a modern enough cargo, like the latest cargo, then I think it will use it by default too. I'm not actually completely sure about that one. But the 2021 stuff is really cool because it gives you new Rust features. It's super backwards compatible. I did a PR changing SYN from 2018 to 2021, and every CI passed. And so I would recommend that we try to transition things, so when you generate a Holochain boilerplate app or something, it's 2021 out of the box, and then we don't have to worry about the dependency 2 thing.
Perfect. Yes. So just to reiterate on the problem and clarify, here on the cargo toml, right? If we want to use Sweetest, we have to declare the dependencies, Holochain as the dependency. The problem was that Cargo is trying to compile Holochain when we build the zones, but when building the zones, the target is set to WASM, and Holochain cannot be compiled to WASM. And that's the error it throws. But actually, thanks, Harlan, this error is not that relevant as we thought it would be.
Well, I tried to do edition 2021, and it didn't work with the particular default.nix that I was pulling from HoloNix, because I don't think it's in there. So I had to go back to the resolver equals 2 for right now. I don't know. You might have been picking a different. This is like from develop of HoloNix. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I asked Stefan about this when Rust 1.56, I believe it was, dropped, which was the first one that had support for 2021. And he said that was not supported by HoloNix yet, but it would be in the next week or so. So it may be if you're using the latest and greatest, and if not now, then very soon. But yeah, you need 1.56, I think, in order to get 2021. All right, shall we return to our story in progress?
Sure, please. And take into account we have 10 minutes left.
All right. Well, given that, I'll keep going by default unless anyone sees anything else we should do with our last 10 minutes. Okay, great. So where were we? Right here. That's what I love about compiler errors. They tell you what to do next. Conductor Bob, it's not needed yet. And so this transfer returns nothing currently, which is maybe great. And then no news equals good news philosophy. And then we could check this from the test side, that the new owner is as expected. And while we're at it, we could check it from Bob's conductor. So, oh wait, did we do anything in transfer? No, but did we even make a transfer method? Why did that pass? We didn't even make a transfer method.
Did you uncomment the build zone, build DNA?
Oh, wait, I think you're missing Tokyo test flavor.
Ah, thank you. Sure, bye. Okay, let's also comment out this large amount of print line. And all right, now we should have a failing test because the transfer method doesn't exist. Details, right? Okay, we're not printing details. By the way, just an aside, it's good to have asides while you're compiling. The reason I added this in test environment is just so I could ignore some of these warnings while I'm testing, but then turn the warnings back on when I run Clippy before I push the code. But unfortunately, I haven't really gotten it to work smoothly. Like it tends to recompile things more than it should, even when I make a separate cargo target dir for the different environment variables. So still a work in progress. Okay, great. Function transfer doesn't exist. Can we infer this message this is what this message means? Yes, zone function not exists. So let's write it. We're now failing for the right reason, and let's make a transfer here. Transfer input.
Harlan, you are showing us TDD, test development, driven development. You are writing test at first and implementing the function.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Just okay then. Right. We're not returning details. We're just returning in the unit value. And we're not using transfer input. Okay, so this should compile with passing tests, I expect. And in strict TDD, we're not allowed to write a transfer method until we have a failing test asking us to. And so I believe all these tests will pass. And so let's go write the part of our test that will fail, which would be asserting that Bob is the new owner of the NFT. So, and furthermore, ambitiously, in our last 3 minutes, Let's do it from Bob. We'll say conductor Bob. We'll get the current owner. And we'll take nothing as an input, which is probably like that.
I should take the nifty input.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Thank you. We need the nifty ID, as Galen points out. Oh, I need to clone it. Okay, and in the interest of time, we'll flip over and start implementing a current owner. Oops, move our zoom bar. And so we've got transfer. So, yes. Yeah, nifty input. That should return an agent code key. And let's return the wrong. No, let's return the right agent code key. In the interest. Well, we'd have to find the nifty by its input. So let's return Alice. So we at least have a compiling failing test, or rather the person who calls it, which is get agent info. Like that. Latest.td. Not quite.
Without return, you don't need semicolon.
Sorry? Didn't I get that right?
You put a semicolon. I just mentioned that semicolon when you are putting a return.
Thank you. It's the first time I've had the opposite problem. Usually I have no semicolon and I'm like, why doesn't it compile?
Yeah, and agent info it returns a result. So you should interrogation mark and then wrap that in an okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Unused. All right, so if all is successful, we will compile on time with a failing test because we're asserting that the NFT belongs to, oh, we're not asserting anything. But if we were, all right, let's try. You can just pull me off stage with a cane. But meanwhile, I'll try to get an assertion in there. Asserting that owner agent code key. How do we get Bob's key again? That one from the cell. Factor that, but might do it for the moment. Agent pub key is not a method to type. All things going well, this could give us our final satisfaction of the failing test, which is always a great place to end because then you always know where to pick up when you start again.
This whole thing about compiling for using Sweetest is really an interesting trade-off versus Triorama. That's pretty interesting. I mean, the Triorama tests take a little bit long, a little bit shorter. It's interesting.
Oh, no. Okay, so you call conductor Bob with cell Alice, line 81.
Thank you. Good catch.
Yeah, maybe this could actually be changed in Sweetest, because like you are not going to want to call cell Alice from conductors Bob ever.
Yeah. Yeah, you could probably write your own convenience wrappers around it, but absolutely refactoring it into Sweetest would be great. Test transfer, that surprised me. Test transfer is okay. It says the current owner is Bob. When I thought
because Bob is the one who's calling it. So Bob is returning Bob's public key. So we are asserting that, yeah, everything is Bob basically.
okay, this is why you have to be careful, seeing that your tests are failing or succeeding for the right reason.
So I didn't ask you about this early on, but I'm interested. I mean, this is clearly, the point isn't really about the implementation of the NFT. The point is about exercising all the testing and understanding the depths of it. But it is an interesting choice that you wanted to put the owner into the content of the Nifty, as opposed to it being reflected by links or other things. I'm not sure what the right thing is, but it would be interesting to actually talk about that at some point. Like, when implementing something like NFTs, do we do the provenance based on the linking or the content of the hash, content of the entry?
Absolutely, yeah, I would love to discuss that. We've definitely gone down both roads and considered both options, and would love to have an architecture discussion about the trade-offs. All right, and so I'll stop sharing my screen now that we are failing for the right reason. Expecting Bob to be the owner, but we haven't implemented the transfer to Bob yet.
And I can report that my thing is working.
Nice.
I got it at the same time, so it's lovely.
Very cool.
Is there any special point you would like to share as a stopper for others? Or everything Harlan just showed is handy, and because this session is all about the Sweetest, if anybody watch can just fix any issue. Would you like to share more, Eric, or it is enough?
No, just gratitude, Harlan. This is a really great exercise. Lovely way to learn things. It's also really fun to just be playing with you all as we go through these things.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
Yeah,
really appreciate all of the time and expertise on this call, and hope it's useful to the viewers as well.
Great. Thank you, Harlan. Would love to continue with the other topic, especially countersigning for the next one. 2 points. One about the repository that I'm going to share the link in the description. Harlan, would you please do a favor that create a couple of branches for connected to this video? If it is possible, please make one branch as an init. It means from the scratch that you started the video, and session 1, it means at the end of session, and then another one at the end of, and the people can have enough space to go and exercise between the session, that so they have one branch at the beginning or end of each session that they can practice. Is it possible? Would you?
Yeah, of course. Very happy to.
Thank you. I'm going to talk to you later on. So, and to find the naming, and I would put the link in the description. And another topic, the second point I would like to mention. Mostly we are using Visual Studio Code. as a plugin, you saw IntelliSense, blah, blah, blah. It is mostly Rust Analyzer. Please install this plugin, help you a lot to implement when you are using Holochain. So, and don't forget to run a Nix shell and then run code so that the Rust Analyzer can detect your code and show your IntelliSense. Is there any other plugins that you would like to mention that Harlan did you use? Mainly that's it. And also one plugin to detect your Rust. That's it. As far as I know, there is no more other plugins.
Yeah, there is one thing I'll say, which is that I don't have globally installed Rust up to date, I guess, because if I just start VS Code from my Mac, it doesn't, Rust Analyzer doesn't work correctly. And so what I do is I enter Nix shell on my Mac terminal, and then I type code space dot, open the directory from the Nix shell, and then Rust Analyzer is working fantastically.
Yes, it is really tricky. If Rust Analyzer is not working, at first go to the Nix shell environment and then Rust. That being said, thank you guys for watching, for staying with us, and also follow the topic of Harlan also for the next week. We love you. Take care and bye-bye.
Thanks all.